Tappa Film Production House presents the real on a Tuesday, the real on a Tuesday. What's going on, folks? What's going on? Hopefully you're tuning in on a wonderful Tuesday. Let's get it going on here, huh? Let us get it going on in the place to be. In the place to be. Landing on the live stream. Landing on distant film education. Oh yeah, good old distant film education. 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 Pardon me, I'm just downloading a couple things I just picked up. I thought they were pretty cool. I might show those a little later. But I'm about to get started, yo. About to get started. I just gotta find something that's gonna make the place of that black screen that I do not like. I don't like black screens. I like to show that I'm here with a good following. What's up? It is the real Marcoux here in the place to be. What's going on, folks? How we doing? What's up, Kevin? How you doing, my man? How you doing, my man? What do we got? We got a pan. We got a pan. Pretty simple. You guys understand this at this point, hopefully, if you watched it a dozen times. It's a pan. A sweeping pan. Oh, sweeping pan. The nice thing about pans is having a rhythm to your pan. Sometimes it compresses. It slows down at the end. And then settles, right? So, a sweeping pan. Whip pan. Oh, it just happened over there. Whip pan over there. Oh, why is that up there? That's annoying. Got to tilt. Tilt. To tilt. Pedestal. Truck. Roll. Left-handed, too. Left-handed while I'm, like, managing the TD job over here. TD being a technical director. If you worked in TV news, you could have a variety of jobs behind the scenes. One of them being a TD, a technical director, a guy or girl who switches the shots or who is in control of the board or what's going on in the place to be. All right, Viking dude. Yeah, you got it right that time. That time I got it right. Yeah, Viking dude's sitting up front. Shout out to all my peeps out there. Shout out to Kevin. Yo, you are a major staple to this piece. I love that you're involved all the time. I love seeing your work. I'm looking forward to seeing the work that's left by the wayside for a moment, right? You got the real distant definition, your real distant recipe, your real distant portrait, right? So I look forward to seeing those pieces, right? I really liked your 5-second countdown. It was really trippy. I love the reflections of the I don't know if it was reflections of water with a spider web, but it was really awesome. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out. But yeah, it's a Tuesday. Yesterday was kind of like the melancholy Monday, makeup Monday, media literacy Monday, mental health Monday. I hope you guys got a chance to go outside and enjoy some of the weather. Well, this is getting a little nicer. Summer's kind of rearing its head around. Hey guys, gotta definitely off the top, I gotta let you guys know of a lot of things because I notice a lot more of the viewer retention is off the top of these shows. So I just want to announce a few things. One is, there's a really cool contest Adobe's running. You might know of the techno artist Marshmallow. Well, he's looking for 15-second plus videos of people doing nice things for his music video. So you might check that out. Search Marshmallow, search Adobe contests, and that contest is due June 6th, I believe. So what's really cool about that, the top winner gets $10,000. I mean, that's a great prize to reach for. But also there's semifinalists that'll make $400. So that ain't bad either. But I suggest that you try that out. I mean, that could be your big break, honestly, to make a piece that really Remember, content is queen, so it's all about like what you're going after as far as that piece. And hey, you could be selected. That would be a really cool contest to win. Again, that's Marshmallow, the techno artist, really fantastic dude. I filmed him once. He's amazing, and yeah, lots of ums this morning, but that might be a cool contest to take on. Additionally, they just launched the Black Earth Lab, which is going to be having a piece called the Open Screen. So I hope you have a chance to check that out. You know, look at those opportunities and apply, because it's good to get up on the up and coming new things that are about to take over the interweb, right? Additionally, here I heard that AS220 is doing some lives today with shout out to Anthony Marxis, right? Shout out to Ant, and yeah, that looks interesting. I might tune in later on to see what they're doing over at AS220 Youth. So go follow the AS220 Youth IG page, and I believe they're going to have something today at 5 o'clock and on Thursday at 5 o'clock. I believe today is based on interdisciplinary arts and media arts on Thursday. So if you're looking for more kind of like tips and tricks from different filmmakers, we're out here doing our thing, and from our experience. So it's cool to take slices of experience from all kinds of people and kind of bring them together to formulate your own kind of artist statement. Or where are you going with this art thing? Where are you going to bring the possibilities of time-based media, yo? Time-based media. It's quite a world here. Yo, I need a haircut like what? I need a haircut like what? Oh my gosh, look at this mullet. Disgusting. What are you going to do, though? There's not many people I need to impress over here. Although, my family, I always want to impress them. However, they kind of always tell me, don't shave the beard, oh, we like your hair long, but I think they just like to laugh at me. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, welcome to the Real Marcoux. We're here up on a Tuesday. I hope you guys had a chance to get some work done. Didn't see many things coming through the pipeline last night, so I don't have much for virtual crits. But I did want to talk a little bit about portrait, because that's pretty much the newest assignment. We talked a lot about recipe, how you can take on a variety of projects for that. Really, for all these projects, they're up for your interpretation. So there is no real wrong answer, right? I asked for a 5 count countdown, and Patrick F., he shared with me, I said, oh, you could take a 5-second film, or you could take 5 pictures. Instead, he went, I'm going to take 1 picture of a stack of, geez, how many? I can't even count right now. Is 14 rolls of toilet paper here, but if you count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 1 picture with a 5 count in it. So I thought that was really creative, and he was breaking the rules of the assignment, which to me is like bonus points if you can like kind of take a project and flip it on its head. There's also the real distant definition. Here's real Noel Parr. I believe he was defining either spring or Easter, because you see that rabbit down there. But yeah, you can define a word, right? Or gaming, right? Real Franlism was out there with the real distant definition. Remember to put your hashtags in there so we keep good track of everything. And we are building towards a portfolio. So you might take all this work and put it together in a sort of reel. In a reel. A reel is what cinematographers like myself, like yourself, would send out to potential companies, potential clients, and say, hey, this is my work. This is the work that I produce. This is my work to date, my greatest work. And they'll look at that and be like, oh, I can't create great work like that. I'm going to hire you. So creating reels, creating portfolios is important for media makers out there. So that way you have something for people to land on. A lot of people, they'll start a TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and they'll say, oh, I'm the latest, greatest thing. Why don't I have 1 million followers? Well, first off, establish your page first, right? Make sure you have some good work that represents you, and put work on there that you want to create. Don't put stuff up there that you don't want to create, or stuff that doesn't really impress yourself off the first, right? You want to impress yourself so you can put your best foot forward, right? So take good pride in these pieces, and you can always delete them later on, no worries. But it's kind of like a little time capsule of our quarantine time here we got going. Yeah, we had a real distant recipe came in from Real distant recipe coming in from the real Matthew. He did some bacon, some breakfast. Had some real distant pork chops coming in from Set. That was really cool. But yeah, we are going to be focusing on the real distant portrait. Here's the real distant portrait from, I believe, Alec, and he said he really liked this piece because of its creepy aesthetic, and I agree, because the highlight roll-off is really soft. You know, the highlight doesn't go straight to white. Oh, I just got bounced out from IG. Don't know why that is, but we'll try it again. We'll give IG another shot here. But yeah, we are talking about the, if I can get this thing going back again. We're talking about the portrait. Let's see if we can go live again. Here we go. Let's get the big guns out. What's up? Yo, pan, 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 tilt, 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 roll, 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 truck, 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 pedestal. Right? Extreme close up. Yo, what's going on? Yeah, they bounced me out on the IG for a moment. What are you going to do, folks? I kind of want to have stuff going on the IG because it's a little bit more interesting. Yesterday we had quite a boring show. And I was doing a lot of like play on, different stuff. Oh, it's interesting. Oh, you can see my weather on the YouTube. Wow. Yeah, we had a really cool piece from the real Jonathan that we showcased. He did a 5 count on his keyboard, right? We are looking at portraits right now, though, right? So one of the things I like to talk about with a portrait is I did say that you don't necessarily have to do a person, right? You could do an inanimate object. You could do something that represents you or somebody that you know that you wanted to put up there. Oh, let's throw this guy up there real quick. Oh, look at that guy. My first TikTok. If you want to follow me on the TikTok at the real Marcoux, I'm just trying some stuff out. Get this thing going in the background. Yeah, flip it. Flip it. Yeah, that was my first TikTok up there. Anyways, when you're talking about portraiture, let's say we are focusing on a person, right? Some things I like to think about is, when I get squared up, what's up, Garza Smash up on the place to be. Talking, hey, whoa, we got Kayla. Yo, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. Great job in college. This is your first year, too, getting it rocking. Yo, shout out to all my college grads this year. Yo, shout out to Alex Santiago. Oh, man. Yeah, dude. Graduation. Congratulations. Shout out to Emerson, grad Preston Powell, of course. Shout out to Brian Rivas. Shout out to Brian Rivas. I heard he's doing some awesome things. Yeah, here's some sort of wisdom. I try. But yeah, big shout out to all those seniors graduating college this year. I know it's a little tough. You don't get a chance to walk. We're doing all these digital walks that are a little bit, I don't know, what do you say? Not just, you want to get the walk. You want to get the walk. So it's disappointing. I could see that, we're in this situation, but just know that you got people out there like myself, like Garza, that are immensely proud. I mean, this means more than the world to us, really. It means more than any dollar value at all to know that there are people out there that are going to drive forward with this artistic force that we're spinning, We're spinning it all the way. We're going to get a little brain fart. Now all of a sudden I feel like I need to act as Garza Smash on here. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, and I just give a shout out to AS220. Looks like they're going to be doing the live today. So if you're around 5 o'clock, go check out AS220's live with Ant. He's going to be rocking it, right? Doing some interdisciplinary arts. So it's going to be pretty fantastic. Preach it, bro. Preach, preach, preach. But, yeah. I'll bring in Oscar. How you doing, Oscar? Hey, how's it going? Well, I let you join yesterday because you promised to behave yourself, so I expect the same sort of activity today. You got it, I guess. But I'm not going to be very happy about it. Yeah, well, you can be disgruntled, but just be quiet, okay? And let Viking Dude have his space. He is my co-host. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, we were talking about portraiture. So, here, let me drop this thing off of the thing because that's my first TikTok. Garza on a TikTok. Oh my god, why'd I do that? It's a media literacy assignment for me. Gotta learn what everyone's into. Oh, here's some wonderful portraits of my daughter who's playing around. See if I can get one of the good ones here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, My daughter. Oh, she's so cute. I think it was maybe the second shot or the first shot. I don't know. We took so many shots because it was really cute that we had Jessie, our dog, with the sunglasses on. But if you notice, it's kind of, I talk about portraiture and how if you're having trouble capturing your subject, well, Frank Capra, one of our greats from film history, always says if you're having trouble capturing your subject, perhaps you aren't close enough, right? And that can mean a variety of things, right? We think about, oh, well, that means getting physically closer to our subject. Well, that could be the case. Oftentimes I'll shoot a subject that stands out to me and I'll start snapping some shots and maybe I'm not quite getting it yet. So I'll change my angle a little bit. A little bit goes a long way, I always say zoom with your legs. A lot of people like to zoom with their zoom functions and stuff. Zoom with your legs. Get physically closer to your subject. Unless it's intimidating your subject, right? He says, close enough, right? What we want is we want a great relationship between our subject and the artist, right? That's what great art is all about. In fact, if you're drawing, if you're sculpting, if you're taking a picture, I believe it all applies. I believe it would probably apply for dance too. How close are you to your audience? That could have a big impact on how your performance is perceived, right? But anyways, he doesn't only mean get physically closer, he also means emotionally close, right? So if I'm capturing Lenora and Jessie right here, it was quite a struggle because the dog is just like trying to go all over the place. In fact, the dog gets a little intimidated by humans. So I have to be close enough, not so close that the dog's going to flip out and jump on me and break my iPhone, right? But close enough that the dog feels comfortable, right? And Lenora gets real nice and close enough to the dog as well, settles in with the dog, and you could tell that this is a great, well, not a great, but a pretty good picture of the duo over here. And that's because she's emotionally close to her dog. She can really associate with Jessie, and Jessie feels calm, the fact that Lenora is kind of wrestling her in a way. So that's a sense of closeness, right? That's a sense of emotional connectivity. And you could see her eye line is like dead on daddy, right? Daddy's taking the picture here. And that's because we have a great emotional bond as well as Jessie. Jessie and I have a great bond as well, although sometimes I yell at her because she's always barking at everyone that passes the house. But there is that closeness there. So, I said you can interpret this how you will. You could be filming a shadow, you could be filming something that represents you, personifying an object, or maybe not personifying an object. But if we're actually thinking about the human face and the human head, some things I like to think because, great art is a balance of control and chaos. I love the chaos, but a little control goes a long way because you can be chaotic with that template that you've provided for yourself. So what's the template of ourself, right? Well, you look at my head right now, it's a little tall because I got the hat on, but that's about the top of my head right there, right? And if you look at a person's head, right, you have your eyes. That's the window into the soul. That's the first thing that people are going to pay attention to is the eyes, right? Well, it happens to be that the eyes are about halfway on your head. Right? If we're thinking about proportions and the control that we have to think about when capturing a human subject, we got to think about anatomy, right? And having a good sense of anatomy is great because you kind of like have these puzzle pieces in your head. You can just create that if you keep practicing with getting your proportions right. So thinking, and I know we're talking photography here, right? So think about proportion in the way that you're angling your camera, right? If I get a little higher, well, I talked about the eyes being in the middle of the head. Well, if I get a little higher on my subject, well, the eyes tend to go further down on the actual physical shape, the two-dimensional shape that I've created with my head, right? So it may have something to do with like maybe emphasizing the brain power of this crazy whacked out art teacher, right? So wow, brainiac Marcoux, right? And the nose is tilted down, right? The lips are rather close. So there's kind of like this internal thing going on, right? However, if I raise my head, my eyes go above that halfway line two-dimensionally when we're looking at our head, right? So perhaps there's something more to do with the ego. Perhaps there's something more to do with the charisma, the character of the face, right? What I'm emoting, the power of my look, right? Not to mention, I'm looking at you right now, and it almost seems like, I'm sorry, guys, but it kind of seems like you're a little below, right? You're a little lower than me when I take an angle like this. So it gives power to that ego, right? Something to think about. Also, when you look at, so back to proportion, right? So your eyes are halfway on that head. Now, if you look down the middle, my nose is super crooked, which makes for a very interesting face. Your eyes are an eyeball apart, right? I mean, some people out there, they have dragonflies, dragonfly eyes. I can see all around it. What's up? The real Kali is up in the place to be. Good to see you. So your eyes are one eyeball apart from one another, typically. All these rules like bend around a little bit, but there are some formative things about this, right? Some things that we know that can help us as anchor points, right? So your eyes tend to be an eyeball apart, right? When we look down the center. A lot of people talk about symmetry and how that's beauty. I disagree. I think beauty happens to be the chaos of this beautiful nose right here. Anyways, so yeah, eyes are separated over. And now if you look at a person's body, right? A person's body tends to be about 6 to 7 heads tall, right? So 1 head, 2 heads, 3 heads down to my torso midsection, right? And then you have that additional 4 heads that make up the length of your body, right? So I like to think about anatomy in relation to anatomy. We got the rulers, we got the metrics in Europe, all that stuff. It's all man-made, right? When it comes down to it, why not measure with the increments that we have with ourselves, right? Proportion. So, now you have this straight on shot, but you also have a 3/4, right? 3/4 when you adjust the head about 30 degrees, right? And then if I go a full 90 degrees, we got the profile. If I went 180 degrees, you'd see the back of my head. And if I did 360 degrees, well, that would be anatomically impossible because I'd be spinning my head like an owl. But yeah, that 90 degree turn has created my profile. 30 degrees, generally about 45 degrees, actually. 45 degrees. My math isn't great this morning. Sorry, guys. 3/4 perspective, right? And then straight on, right? So you can think about that. But, additionally, I know a lot of us are working with practical lighting. We have what we have to make this lighting happen. So if we're looking at this crazy, kind of ridiculous lighting scenario, you're right. I have the very strong light that's coming down here. This is my strongest light source. I don't know if you can name that. Kalia, you might know what that light source is called in a 3-point lighting scenario. But, we understand proportion, but then we also need to kind of, paint with light. We need to paint contour. We need to paint lines. We need to create lines of detail. I know it's funny because when we talk about practical lighting, you might be working with your family and you might say, oh yeah, Dad, Mr. Marcoux said to get some light. And I know the first thing Dad does is, I got a flashlight. Boom! Right? And it's like, Dad, that's way too bright, right? So a little bit goes a long way. Maybe take that flashlight, perhaps bounce it off something, and then you can create like maybe an interesting ambient light as opposed to harsh, blown out light, right? But anyways, we have that. I'm going to reproduce this right over here. We have that strongest light, and if you can let me know what that is in the comments, I would love to hear some virtual participation. This light right here, right? 3-point lighting. I'm accenting it with this crazy flashlight that I said Dad takes out of the basement to help you with your film project and doesn't work. Sorry, Dad. I'm a dad too. Dads are corny. Yeah, and then we have this other light right over here that's just kind of like softening and just kind of like amping up the shadows, right? So we have this, my strongest light source, and then we have like kind of this ambient light that's just kind of filling up the shadows. It's not making me seem too much like a dinosaur, right? And then you might have a light back here that kind of like accents things and draws lines, right? That's a 3-point lighting scenario. So we have our strongest light up here on the top left or right corner, whatever it is. I'm in backwards vision, so it's a little weird. And then we have this ambient light, and then we might have something in the back that's kind of creating an edge, right? And that's exactly what we call that back light. We call that an edge light. You could also call it a rim light. But you can put it in wherever you want. If you put it down low, it can be called a kicker. So there I got my fancy little edge light that's showing off my terrible hair from this morning shower. So that's my edge light. We talked about this light, my very strongest light. I'm still not getting that participation. I think that's going to be my word of the week, participation. My strongest light source up here. Helps define the form. No, that's okay. Not much participation. That's okay. That's my key light, right? So this is my key light. I got my edge light in the back. Right now it's kind of like a kicker because it's coming down from low, right? Key light, edge light. What's this light? Just kind of filling up the shadows, right? Fill light, all right? So that's just filling up the shadows. And this is my window light right over here, right? So key light, fill light, edge light. By using practical lights like lamps around the house, a window, I'm not using anything special right now. I got a flashlight, I got my light coming from my window, and I got the light in my room. I also got a little bit of extra fill coming from my computer screen, which could be a useful thing, right? So that's a little bit of a fill right there. It's like an extra fill. I have a 4-point going on, but it's all with practical lighting, right? It's none of it is like specialty lighting or anything like that, And I put a hood on my light over here, so that way it kind of like dims out the dark, the light back here, so it's not so flat and lit back here. So that way there's a little bit of a dynamic of tonality going on in this crusty iPhone shot, right? I think about drawing, painting with little light. Right? If you have a little bit of light, then paint with it, right? Create lines, create contour. Could be a great thing to play with when you're capturing portraiture. Also think about the shadows that those lights create, right? Especially capturing a face. One of the things I'm always messing with is my hat brim. Hat brims tend to create a lot of darkness. And I noticed some of the early zones that I saw from Q3, people had their hats on, and it was kind of like creating too much contrast with the face, right? We lost all that detail in the forehead. I have these crazy lines in my forehead, which is why I wear this crazy funky bandana. I'm not a fan of the diplomats, but, I have an American flag, so I decided why not, right? But you got to think about the shadows that things like a hat will create. One of the things I'm always paying attention to is neck shadows, right? Right now you can notice, right, my collar's creating quite the weird, nasty lighting right here. There's like this streak of light that's hitting my neck right here. And it's a little distracting for me as like the picky filmmaker guy, right? Also, I got to be careful about the light that maybe comes down underneath my chin, because if this is too harsh, right, that may be a problem. That's where a fill light comes in very handy, where a fill light can kind of amp up the harsh value of a dark shadow. If you think, oh wow, those shadows are really harsh on the hat brim coming down on Marcoux' forehead and the harsh shadow underneath my neck, add a little low fill light and put a lot of softening on it, right? Take something like a white sheet, or take something like this, a softener, and put it over your light, so that way soften it a little bit. And perhaps you can get a little bit of a softer, thing's not sitting right, but you can get perhaps a little bit of a softer light going on. You can tell my edge was a little bit harsh right there. Well, now it's a little softer. It's a little bit less apparent, right? But it still exists. It's drawing that line, separating me from the background. When we're creating any kind of artwork, we're trying to develop some space, right? We're trying to create at least some kind of like imaginary space, right? And to do that, to amplify space, well, we separate things from the background, foreground, and middle ground, right? I got my foreground element. Hey, get off me. Got my middle ground element, me, or Oscar, right over here. And then I got my background elements. Mark the Centaur, my reel, right? So I'm stacking visual elements to create a pleasing composition. Sort of pleasing, I don't know. We're trying. A little bit of a mix of melancholy Marcoux and manic Marcoux. I don't know how far it's going to go. But yeah, kind of took these pictures. I felt like they had kind of a character to them, I look at this one right here, and it has kind of like the eyes, the nose, and the mouth in that leaf. So I thought that was interesting how that created a personified character out of this leaf reflection. that was pretty neat. So I posted that on my Marcoux Pictures Instagram page. Shout out to the Reel on Ale. I did a wonderful time lapse. I always got to showcase that. Ooh, I love this piece. Follow the Reel on Ale if you want to check out the video. It's really fantastic work. And shout out to the XQ graduates. Shout out to Kiki Harley. Shout out to Kiki Harley. You were fantastic in the national program XQ Graduate Together. Yeah, so I do some drawing too. And you know, I talked a little bit about proportion, but these are just some like blind contours. Sometimes if you're practicing drawing, here's an assignment for you drawing artists. Look at your hand, put it in a position, take the piece of paper, put it like up on your knee or something so you can't see it. Look at your hand, draw your hand without looking at the page. Blind contours. If you want to be an artist, you need to draw blind for about like, I don't know, half a year. Well, no, not necessarily. You could just practice, you know. I probably did blind contours for at least half a year. Just keep doing that because you're going to get that muscle memory going. And you can develop kind of interesting things. I know these aren't perfect, but, you know, this was completely blind. And that's my hand in its position. So it gives you a good sense of muscle memory. And it's always good to do our digital push-ups, but our manual push-ups as well. Yeah, we're talking portraiture today on a Tuesday right now. It's an 8A. Pretty sure it's an 8A. I sure hope so. That's one of my hardest things to come by. What day is today? I don't know. Yeah, so we had this portrait right over here that I was playing with. That was got on my TikTok. Oh God, why am I on TikTok? But anyways, just put the pictures on there. You can notice my nose is absolutely huge, but I have that kind of like upper nose, right? So it's kind of like this look of ego. It's kind of like this look of like power, right? So, you know, think about the angle of the face if you're capturing a human, right? And think about, you know, I know you don't have light. You might not have lighting. You might have some lighting. You might have a candle. You might have like something interesting that you can use or dazzle with light, right? But think about how can I use the natural light around me to compose a 3-point lighting scenario like Marcoux saying. What can be my key light? The sun. What can be my fill light? Maybe a bounce. Maybe I take a big white piece of paper and I try to reflect the light from the sun to create a bounce on my face, right? That'd actually be an interesting thing to play with right now. In fact, we can get off of this nonsense. Boom. Yeah, close that. Cool. So yeah, you could play with a bounce, right? You could bounce around light. I don't know if I have anything. Oh, here we go. Right here, a piece of paper. So I could see how much light that added? So using both one light, I'm able to bounce that light and create a fill. So one light creates my key and my fill by bouncing, right? You could also say maybe someone else has a phone, right? Maybe they could turn on a flashlight and maybe like throw it through a weird filter, put it under their t-shirt, soften it a little bit. That could add a fill. That would be really useful. And then think about the edge light, right? Is there a reflection coming off of something that you can use to like accent the wee hairs of Mr. Marcoux's mullet? I have no idea. All right, but think about what you have around you. You know, that's a key to a good cinematographer or photographer is looking at the scenario that you're in and try to like place numbers on the things that exist, right? Like, oh, Mr. Marcoux talked about a 3-point lighting scenario. I don't have lights, but wow, there's the sun. Wow, there's my bounce. Wow, there's a reflection coming off the ocean that like glimmers and makes an excellent edge light, right? Sometimes in cinema, we sometimes do weird things like light shadows, just so we can make them darker in post, so we get a cleaner rendition of shadow retention, right? We try to get all the detail we can out of that shadow retention. Yeah, we're about 35 minutes in, folks. This has been an exciting show. I'm really excited. Garza joined us today. I haven't seen him in quite a while, and I miss you terribly, bro. I miss all my artists. I miss all my staff, my students. Tappa, you guys are phenomenal. And today, I wanted to go into, we talked a little bit about portraiture, anatomy of a face. Your eyes halfway on the head. Your eyes are eyeball apart. Your body being about 6 to 7 heads high, right? We also talked about key light, fill light, and edge light, right? Right. So, but let's talk a little bit about color temperature too, because that has a lot to do with different effects. I could put this flashlight underneath this, and we do this sometimes here on the show. Do a little bit of an orange light, right? So that's warmth, right? When we're thinking about color tint or color temperature, that's warmth, right? So you can make something warm. It maybe looks a little bit more wholesome. Maybe it looks hot, fire, anger. I don't know, right? Well, when we also talk about color temperature, oh my gosh, this thing is kind of fading in now. That's all right. You could also use a blue gel, right? And a blue gel is going to create maybe a little bit more sterile environment, maybe a little haunting, right? Also emphasizes the greens in my skin tones, right? So think about color temperature and the way you can affect your visual image. What are you trying to say? You know, what things are you trying to say, and how can you amplify the things you could say by using things that you have available to you, right? I put up this really kind of haphazard Photoshop thing just to show you how you can use a computer screen, right? So right now, if you're looking at the YouTube, you can see I have a purple swath right here. And it's reflecting on my face, giving me this look of purple, which can have its cultural significance. It can have its significance in life, in your experience, in your generation, right? But, you know, oftentimes it reads royalty, you know, purple. Emerson, shout out to Emerson, right? It can also emphasize fruitfulness. You know, there's a lot of things I associate with purple, right? Different flowers, right? Sometimes the sky looks sort of purple during like the end of a day or something like that. So it can have a feeling of like dusk coming on, right? But also you have, that relates, right? That complementary color to purple is yellow, right? So if you want to contrast between two particular colors, yellow and purple are perfect contrasting opposites, right? Because if we take blue and red, the other primary colors, we mix them together, we get purple. The primary colors being red, blue, green, red, blue, green, red, blue, yellow. RGB is the way that video works. Red, green, and blue make up your pixels on your television. But actual primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. So you mix the other primary colors and you get the complementary color to your primary color. If that makes any sense. But you can ask me, DM. So yellow, it's adding kind of this warmth to me. It's actually creating, again, adding to those greens in my face, my skin tones, right? I like how computer screens can be a makeshift light. Green. Ever hear the term, you're green with envy? You could have that be the core of your subject, if that happens to be the particular subject mood at that particular time. You could also read wealth, right? Maybe sickness, right? Maybe monster. I see monsters are always green, right? So it tends to have like kind of like a ugly kind of vibe in a weird way. So what's the complementary color to green? Because green is a mixture of yellow and blue, right? Yellow and blue. So the other primary color besides yellow and blue is participation. That's okay. Red. Whoa, I didn't have the red one on. That's blue. Excuse me. So yeah, red and green are complementary colors. That's why Christmas time, jingle bells, it's green and red tend to be the Christmas tones because they contrast one another. They make each other pop. But when I put that red on my computer screen, you can see the reflection. It gives me more of a kind of a demonic kind of look, or a warm, wholesome look, or I don't know. You know, you can interpret it how you will. But I did talk about blue. We had blue in there. And I don't have the complementary color to blue up there right now, but it's orange, okay? So you mix red and yellow, and you get orange, and that's contrasting to blue. But blue can have a very interesting effect on your subject matter, right? In fact, it's looking a little bit like a submarine right now. Looks aquatic, right? It's funny because people often think that blue is one of the most popular colors. I think it's because when we wake up as a baby, we look up in the sky, we see the blue, and it makes us feel comfortable. Colors like blue and green tend to make us feel comfortable because they're natural. Interesting fun fact is that your eye picks up on green better than any color. It's just something to do with the chemicals in our eyes, right? Chemicals, who knows? But our eyes, our cones in our eyes pick up on green better for definition. That's why in a TV we use red, green, and blue. I don't know if it's exactly why, but there's actually 2 green subpixels per every red and blue subpixel. So more green enables the pixel to mix more colors and create more relevant definition that our eye can see. That's typically why green is used. It's also, when you use green screen, it's easier to pull away green because there's those 2 subpixels versus only 1 of red and blue, right? So if there's 2 subpixels to pull away from green, you're going to have a much better, easier time with your special effects by using a green screen. And not wearing green either, because if you wear green in a green screen, well, guess what? You're going to be a floating head. Maybe we should try some of that. I see people use Zoom a lot with the green screen feature, and oftentimes they're shooting in a weird background like this that has a lot of different tonal values. Well, if you're trying to do Zoom without a green screen, try to pick a flatter background, something that's different than you, maybe a certain color or something, and make sure it's evenly lit. Like, you can see all the different gradations and values in my background would be terrible for that Zoom meeting green screen pseudo effect, right? But if I lit back here, it would probably work pretty good. I would want to remove the centaur because he's quite contrasty compared to that background. But that would probably allow for a cleaner background. What's up, Purple Step? Nice to see you, bro. Yeah, I hope that info is useful for you. Yeah, we were talking portraiture today. We talked, just to reiterate it, because I am going to cut it close pretty soon. I have a meeting in about 15 minutes. But what I'd gone over was portraiture, right? We talked about how your real distant portrait could be anything, right? But if you are to do a face or a person, right? Some of the things I talked about, and I'm just going to run it through really quick, is proportions of a head, and he's gone. That's all right. Your eyes are halfway between the top of your head and the bottom of your chin, typically, right? So that's a good proportion measure. Your eyes are 1 eyeball apart, okay? And you know what? Another interesting thing that I didn't talk about was that your nose typically is halfway between your eyes and your chin. So that's a good measurement. And then your mouth tends to be halfway between your nose and your chin. Just like interesting kind of feature proportion stuff that can help you at least when you're drawing a face. But I think when you're taking photography too, it's important to know those things, because you could tell, like, if you're going to have someone like, oh, can you pose like this? You could tell kind of like where everything's going to line up and if you're getting the look that you want to get, right? And then I talked a little bit about lighting, 3-point lighting. So you have the key light, which is my light up here. That's my most intense source, right? My most intense source of light. My window, which is kind of like a fill light right now. It's just amping up the shadow value, right? And then I talked about an edge light. So if you have a light in the back that's kind of creating contour, you have an edge light, right? So that's a 3-point lighting scenario. And what I'm asking is that when you're out there taking pictures, think about how you can use the light that's around you to kind of arrange that sort of feeling of a key light, a fill light, and an edge light. You know, if we're using the things that we have around us and adjusting our bodies and where our camera is, we can capture that 3-point dynamic. You know, I find some of the best lighting scenarios are the stuff that doesn't look lit. You know, it uses the light that it has around it. It might use a bounce. It might bounce light with a, see if I, how much light that adds just by putting this piece of paper here. That will make an great extreme close-up of ugly Marcoux, you know. So you can use light and bend it the way that you see fit, right? Oh, that light is intense over here. Yeah, we're 45 minutes in, folks. Long show. Long show. Had our first bounce out on Instagram, but that was okay. That was a little fun. If you guys have any questions, oh man, I just moved him without even talking. That's a strip of paper. What are you going to do? Oscar's annoying sometimes. Hey, what are you going to do? Yeah, he is kind of annoying. I hear you, bro. But yeah, you guys need to get your work done. That's the bottom line. I'm really excited about the activity on the Instagram and on the live feeds, and I will be adding that participation grade in there down the line. But if you look at your Skyward and everything right now, you can see how many assignments might be missing in your case. And I, hope that you use this week to get up to speed, because I'm going to release more assignments. And if, you're leaving stuff by the wayside, that's fine. But it's on you. You got to do your thing. I try to keep them relatively easy assignments that you could do, whether it be photography or video, short form video, and building towards something. I also want to give big shout outs to those who want to go the extra mile. If you want more assignments, DM me. I'll be glad to do that. Or if you're confused with an assignment or don't want to do a self-portrait, don't want to do a countdown, don't want to do a definition or a recipe, then make up your own The Real Distant whatever. Show me better than I can do, right? It doesn't matter to me. I'm always looking forward to new suggestions when it comes down to the concentration reel. And I want to have a lot of cool stuff that we could showcase at the end of the year in some virtual film festivals. So break the paradigm. And I know Purple Step, you're doing a lot of streaming and stuff like that. If you feel like you want to make that part of it, great. If not, separate yourself from it. Make like the real Purple Step account just for this. So that way you're not like, I don't know, ruining your online clout with my corniness. Whatever. Doesn't matter to me. This is a class, right? This is what we're here to do. So, and yeah, I'm going to take it mad seriously, guys, because I got some big projects that I want to get underway. And if any of you guys are interested in collaborating, I have a actual side project. If you want to get involved with that, I'm glad to. It actually has a little bit to do with this, but it's actually a personal film. But I'm interested in maybe getting some people in their zones, their background zones, with their masks on and doing a little bit of a independent movie feature created by Marcoux. If you're interested. If not, no worries. I'll just like wear a bunch of masks myself and play like 16 people. Anyways, that's a side thing. Yeah, we're 48 minutes in, folks. Long show today. Really excited to see the participation today. That's our word of the day, participation. Maybe that's our code switch for participation. Who knows? Code switch, binge watching. It's a terrible term. Just got to shout that out there. Don't say binge watching. Binge watching is a terrible way to represent our art form, time-based media. It should not be binge watched. It should be taken with a grain of salt on a cracker. Okay? Anyways, I really appreciate you guys. Love you guys tuning in. Tune in to AS220 Youth later on today at 5 o'clock. Tune in, check out Black Earth Lab. They're doing magnificent stuff. And if you're looking for a contest, that Marshmallow $10,000 is up. Adobe, Marshmallow, film something about someone doing a good deed. You could win $400 or you could win $10,000 if the grand prize winner. And that's cool because you'd also be in Marshmallow's music video. You would blow up and I would want to work for you. So do that. Let's see someone rock that. If you don't rock that, you better rock C-SPAN again next year. Shout out to the real Ray. Shout out to the real Aiden. They won C-SPAN 2 times in a row. Yeah. Let's do that again. Let's win some contests. Quarantine film festivals. We'll probably have to do our own quarantine film festival. So if you're thinking about bigger things, get psyched for that. I'm ready to put you out there. Or I will launch whatever you're producing because I don't need to represent you if you don't feel like it. No worries, guys. Just here in the place to be. The real, the real, the real. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. Let's see that work. Seriously.